to the best of their ability and judgment.
Thank you, Ken. Council, I'll ask you to be upstanding for the acknowledgement of country and the prayer. I would like to pay my respect and acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we are meeting, and pay my respect to elders past, present and emerging. We give thanks and ask for guidance and direction that each of us may fulfil our responsibility to our community and to our country. Amen. Thank you, everyone. Before we commence, people, we will welcome our Acting Director of Health and Planning, George, up here to the table. So welcome, George, to your first meeting, and hope you guide us all very well in the planning area. Okay, apologies and applications for leave of absence. We've got an apology from Councillor Hayward, I understand. Any leave of absence? Okay, just have a mover and a seconder for that. Councillors Cooper and McAllister. All in favour? Carried. Disclosures of interests. I have one in item 9.8. Councillor Beaumont.
Yes, and I have one at item 9. Oh, I lost it, I'm sorry. 9.7, a non-pecuniary disclosure of interest. I'm on the board of the Wentworth Regional Tourism Incorporated body, and there is a grant application in from that organisation.
Okay, thank you. Any others?
Mr Mayor?
Yes, Councillor Rodder.
If I may, I sought clarification earlier from the Executive Assistant as to whether I had a conflict in regards to the same point as Councillor Beaumont. I'm not too sure because I haven't had a chance to follow up with her as to whether that is actually the case or not.
Okay, so the best advice is if there's any doubt, get out, but unless someone up here's got other advice. All right, any others? Councillor Cooper?
Just 9.8. Thank you.
Okay. Any others? Have a mover and a seconder. Councillor Linklater, Councillor Crisp, all in favour? Carried. Okay, can we have a confirmation of the minutes from our last meeting on the 26th of October? A mover and a seconder, thank you. Councillor Crisp, Councillor Linklater, any comments? Councillor McAllister. Page 18 at 10.7 certainly does. Sealed lane, that should read. Okay, any other comments? All in favour? Carried. Okay, item 6.1 is outstanding matters from the previous meeting. Have a mover and a seconder there. Thank you. Councillor Beaumont, Councillor Nichols. Any discussion? Councillor Beaumont.
Yeah, I'd just like to point out that the PS Ruby is not mentioned there, and request that we ensure that that matter appears on the next monthly report as an outstanding action item.
Okay. The Ruby. Any others? Similar to the minutes, if you look at the one over the page at 10.7, again, that should be unsealed lane. Okay. All in favour? Carried. 7.1 is the mayoral report. I'll move it. Second, councillor Linklater. Any discussion, comments? Hasn't been that long since the last meeting. Councillor McAllister.
I'm just wondering if you could provide us with a bit of an update from the Far West JO, please, if anything's happening in that space.
Yes, certainly. The last couple of meetings have just revolved around its finances and moving forward, and not a lot of action apart from the traffic transport strategy, which is still in the process of sort of getting put together.
Not a lot of activity, really, just in a holding pattern to check the finances and get projects completed.
And it's still being chaired by Broken Hill, is that correct?
Bob Stewart's the new chair,
Okay.
and
Yep.
that's changed, yep. Councillor Crisp.
Mr Mayor, I would like to record a vote of thanks at this point for the work staff yourself have shown with your leadership around the current flood issues and you have been out there doing an enormous amount of work showing leadership and as we had reported earlier, the team have been very, very busy and I think we should acknowledge that.
All right, thank you, and appreciate that, but we're all in it together, and I can't thank Gunny and his team enough for having the initiative to get on the front foot, and in particular on nights like Saturday night in Wentworth when there's pretty fierce lightning storms and the boys are out starting pumps and making sure we're getting rid of the storm water. So it's really, I'll take some accolades, but the real bloke is sitting next to me here, and I think his team are the people that'll get us through it. All righty, did we get a mover in a second there? We did. All in favour? Carried. Okay, 9.1 is the General Manager's report. Have a recommendation there, a mover and a seconder. Councillor Nichols, Councillor Beaumont. Any discussion? Councillor Otto, you mustn't have been far away. Turn your microphone on, please.
Thank you, Mr Mayor, for the reminder. So the 23rd of November is the Australian Inland Botanic Gardens AGM, which happens to fall next Wednesday night, which is the same night as our advisory meeting. So the Botanic Gardens have asked if there could be a representative from the Wentworth Council at that meeting. Is it possible?
I think what I'd like to do is probably just have a general debate, and we can do it in public. In relation to that meeting, there's the advisory committee meeting. There's a lot of work obviously going on around the floods. I'm just wondering whether we should just put them off for the time being, keep doing our community committee stuff. I'm very conscious of Jeff and his people. You'll second that? You know, just on that basis that the focus, I think, for the next 3 or 4 months is going to be pretty much on water and what's going on. It's not going to go away quickly. We know we've got a big Murray coming, and there's water in the Darling that will certainly have an impact time we get around Christmas, New Year. So I personally would rather see these blokes doing what they have to do than sitting in here. So if you're happy with that, we might just...
You've moved that we suspend advisory
committee meetings, yes, until such time as the flood's looking like it's under control. Second, Councillor McAllister. Councillor Beaumont?
No, I had a question.
Yes.
Just to relate, if we're not having advisory meetings, I still think it's paramount that we get together as a council to discuss flood-related and water-related issues.
We'll certainly still have a December council meeting. If there comes a time, I think, that we've got a bit of panic, for sure. I think we can just organise a meeting by phone, by whatever, to have a get-together if everyone's happy with that.
I would suggest that councillors need to be briefed. The
Yeah.
emails that were coming daily from yourself for a few days were very helpful in informing councillors on
I will pick them up again and probably get them out every couple of days. It's just the difficulty since the last one was I was struggling with the numbers, and that revision today has sort of probably put it back to where we thought it may have been, and very hard, as I said in one of them, you had five increases in 8 days, like,
Yeah.
very, very difficult to sort of pick, but yeah, I'll certainly,
Of course, the challenge is for councillors that people, residents come to councillors looking for information and,
yeah.
you know,
No, we'll do that, and we'll keep the website updated with anything that's current, and
Yeah, I think the SES bulletin is our go-to information, and that's what we're asked to share. Any internal sort of thought processes or ideas will probably remain internal until they come out in the SES bulletins.
okay, happy with that? All right, all in favour? Carried.
So just for clarification, you've just carried the recommendation?
Well,
or the
actually,
motion?
with the subsequent motion. So did we get that there? Yep, so it's moved, myself, seconded councillor McAllister. And it's now carried. And so I've probably confused everything on 9.1. Councillor Rotto.
just back on that, on the General Manager's report, items of other note, the Tourism Officer's report, I'd just like to make comment on the Denton Market, which was held last weekend. Great job by the tourism team of Lexi and Matilda. The event was very well attended, very well executed, and seemed to be very well very much appreciated by the community, with lots of people there. So good job.
Yep, fantastic. Councillor Nichols, turn your microphone on, please.
Just on page 34, under the tourism branding update, councillors up until the last branding update always had input. Came to council, and council actually chose those shapes that are outside the towns, and that's why Wentworth has a different one to what the rest of the town has. So it would be nice to be included into some of that work. I mean, Wentworth's got the New South Wales shape, the others have the round shape. They were chosen by councillors, not by staff. So I just think we should have some input.
Take that on board and
Can I make comment
make
there,
sure the
Mr. Mayor?
councillors are informed, certainly.
So the Wentworth Regional Tourism branding was a exercise that was external to council but in conjunction. And so I think that material has been reflective of the work that's been going on with the branding within council. Am I correct, Councillor Beaumont?
Yeah, the process from the point of view of Wentworth Regional Tourism was that it was we update the visitors guide every 2 years. So we started that process about October last year. That coincided with the Shire going through the rebranding process. So it all got wound into one project, I guess. And so now our OVGs and all the Wentworth Regional Tourism material includes and incorporates the new branding for the Shire, if that answers your question. So it's consistent.
Okay with that?
Yeah, further comment, I was lucky enough to see that branding today, and we're hanging up outside the bowling club, and we're talking about it tonight.
Okay. All righty. Any other discussion now of that 9.1? All in favour? Carried. 9.2 is the Australian Day Awards. There's a recommendation there. Move it, please. Councillor Cooper, second Councillor Beaumont. Gail will be walking around with some voting forms. Hold the meeting and do the voting, or do we? Okay, I think we had a move, didn't we, in a second? Councillor Cooper moved it, Councillor Beaumont seconded. So we all in favour? Carried. 9.3, the monthly finance report. The recommendation there, council receives and notes the report. Move it, please. Councillor Crisp, Councillor Rodder. Any discussion? All in favour? Oh, carried. Did you have a question or what? No, okay. Yeah, well, I sort of went, any discussion, and as I was about to say, the hand went up, you just beat me to it. 9.4 is our monthly investment report. Recommendation there that we receive and note the reporting. Councillor Rodder, Councillor Nichols, any discussion? All in favour? Carried. 9.5 is the September quarterly budget review for the first quarter for 22-23. A recommendation there that we note the 2023 first quarter budget review. We note the proposed revised changes to the operational capital expenditure and resolve to amend the 2023 budget in accordance with the changes recommended in the quarterly budget review statement for the period 1st of July to 30th of September. Moved, Councillor Crisp, seconded Councillor Linklater. Any questions? All in favour? Carried. .6 is the quarterly operational plan progress report. There's a recommendation there again that council approves the additional 20 actions added to the 2023 operation plan, and the council notes the quarterly operational plan progress report. A mover and seconder, please. Councillor Rodder, Councillor Beaumont. Any discussion? Yes, microphone on. Thanks, Councillor Nichols.
On page 91, 18 still in progress at June the 30th from 22, carried forward from previous financial year. Little Manly upgrade, Trentham Cliffs water, sewer main, filtered water. A lot of them seem to be water, sewer and drainage. What's the hold up on these, please?
Trentham Cliffs water main, Trentham Cliffs sewer main is as part of the development undertaken by a private contractor to service the development out there. Moorkong filtered water main actually is completed. Golgol pump station drainage is now being combined with the upgrade works for the Gol Rural Water System. So those projects, a couple of those projects held over. Moorkong is actually finished now. Kingridge Sewer, Wood Street Sewer, in association with current developments as well. So they're tied into private development works. So that's the reason for some of those delays.
Do we have a time frame for that?
The Gol pump station drainage out for tender at the moment, and that work, the components of that project are already purchased. So we would expect to make a recommendation for the December meeting for that project to start. Trentham Cliffs, subject to the private developers' progress, which I think is primarily only waiting for the installation of the sewer pump station. The water main is essentially already installed, and it's the only part remaining on that is the booster pump station, for which the components of that are already being procured to install as well.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? Councillor Beaumont?
Perhaps more a comment. This document was tabled at the ARIC meeting a couple of weeks ago, and I think it's fair to say that the ARIC committee were very impressed with the document and the work that's gone into it. But there's a couple of small suggestions made. One was that and personally I would like to see a little more in the comments column, particularly where we have progressing for any action item you want to pick, but progressing 30% progress but no comment. I think there's certainly room for some dot points or comments to go in that column. The other query was the percentages that are applied. I'm not quite sure, whether they're sort of all that relevant, or how do you determine the percentage completed on a project. But other than that, the ARIC committee were very impressed with the work of Simon, the Director of Finance, and his team in relation to putting this together.
So that's a column that can be easily removed if both either the committee and or council don't see any value in that column, and are more happy that the actual colours of the lights, the traffic light type symbol, gives a better sort of overview of where the project is. Some councils would like to see that, it's progressing, but it's stalled and it's at 20%, or it's progressing and it's at 70%. So I'll look at that for the next one, but I find it interesting, but others may not give it the same credence as what I do. But yeah, I'm happy to leave it in for the time being, but it is a column that can be easily removed if so desired.
It does give you some idea, obviously, but I think the percentage accompanied with some comments would give us a better overall picture.
Okay, thanks. Good feedback. Councillor Nichols again.
Yeah, page 97. How many apprentices and trainees do we currently have? How long have they been here, and how many do we expect to have before the end of this financial year?
May well be too hard a question, Councillor.
No.
So we're just conferring amongst us. I don't think we've actually got any at this particular point in time.
And that's the reason I asked the question. I knew the answer, because this has been raised year after year after year, and I think it's time. It says down here it's progressing. It's 30%. It's 30% of nothing. There are departments, areas out there that we can get apprentices for. We're an ageing workforce, and I think we need to do something about it.
Yeah, I think that's why it's good to have a comment there to show what actions are being applied.
And I think, as Councillor Nichols has said, it's not the first time I've heard her bring it up. I reckon I've heard it for the last 4 years,
But also, if you flip the page, that'll sort of list
All right, Simon, that's one to address, and obviously Ken and his team, the apprentices have been spoken about plenty of times.
It's all good feedback. Thank you very much.
Let's get on the front foot and see what we can find.
If you represent all your numbers in a pie chart, I'll be happy. So that's just a first.
Yes, I do remember you saying, that's why I tried to include those pie charts on page 89 and 90, because I remembered at a previous meeting you expressed your fondness for pie charts, so.
Pie chart. All right, anything else out of that? Okay, all in favour? Carried. Okay, 9.7 is the request for financial assistance. Would suggest we deal with all of them bar the one Councillor Beaumont has an interest in, and then we will, no, I think you can wait. We'll deal with the others first, and then you can leave the room. So, move Councillor Nichols, seconded Councillor Linklater. Open for discussion. We're discussing everything bar the regional tourism one at this point of time. So you're happy with Rotary, Sporting Complex, Millennial School and the Mills on Wheels? Any other discussion on those four? Okay, all in favour? Be carried. Okay, Councillor Beaumont, thank you. We're going to split them up. What do we do?
Now discussing on the same agenda item, Wentworth Regional Tourism Grant Application.
Okay. All right, so the tourism one is remaining there, and grant application. So it's been moved and second. Can we have some discussion, please, if anybody would like?
We're moving it separately because I think that's what Chris just did.
Yeah. Okay, so move Councillor Cooper, seconded Councillor McAllister. Any discussion? All in favour? Carried.
Through you, Mr Mayor, can I just ask some guidance? As you can see at the bottom of the table on page 129, we've only got $10,700 remaining for the remainder of the financial year. Do you wish, is it your desire to cap that for the rest of the year, or would you prefer or require me to come back at the next round, which will be in February, with a recommendation for a potential increase in the budget to see us through to the end of the financial year? This is the first time in all the time I've been doing this that we've found ourselves in this situation, which I think sort of indicates the level of assistance that groups are reaching out to council for.
Yeah, certainly. Councillor Linklater, comment.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd be very keen to see some numbers on whether it's possible, and perhaps we might get a broader geographical spread from interested community groups, which would be excellent.
Councillor McAllister.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to mention also that I think the amount of interest in financial assistance is commensurate with the amount of information that's now being provided to groups. So now they're told up front how much they can apply for. So of course you're going to highball. And as a council, I think it's up to us to sort of step up. Perhaps the budget didn't accurately reflect what the demand would be, and perhaps we need to look at that. But I would agree that if we have more interest, then perhaps we can attend to it at next.
And in saying that, we've had a number of applications already across the first two rounds from groups who've never applied to council for money before, and in a number of those occasions they've been for the full $5,000. So, hence why we find ourselves in this situation.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Councillor Rodder. Did you want to add something?
No, I just concur that that we need to look at those numbers and make further funds available if required.
Yeah. So it's either I'll come up with a number, or we'll just do it on round by round basis, and each round will just be accompanied by a budget variation request, because we just don't know how much additional assistance will be asked for between now and the end of May when it closes for the year. So I'll assess what comes in the next round and see where we land there, and it might just be easier to do it that way.
All right, thank you. We did vote on that, didn't we? Yeah. So it's carried. All right. Councillor Linklater, I'll ask you to take the chair. I've declared an interest in this one. So.
You right?
Okay, I'll just close those doors, yep.
Oh, thank you. Good evening, councillors, officers and the gallery. We'll now deal with item 9.8, which is a DA 2022/102, dwelling with garage and storage shed, Pooncarie Road, Lot 8, DP 1270097, Wentworth. We have a recommendation in front of us. Could I get a mover? Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Rodder. Open for discussion. Councillor McAllister.
I have a question, if I may, just on the report, the Statement of Environmental Effects that is attached. I can't find a date of that document, although I note that one photo is dated. Can someone provide me with the date of that report, please?
At this stage, the application, we can only provide the date the application was sent to council. There is no date for when the Statement of Environmental Effects was actually prepared. I can follow that up for you. Okay.
Can you have a look through your attachments there, Mr. Canende, and advise the date of the application?
I just, if I may, I'd just point out that it would be a significant oversight to not provide a date of a report, and I would consider that that's a fairly important oversight that needs to be followed up. Not on your part, George. I'm not suggesting you've done anything wrong. I would suggest the person who wrote the report should ordinarily put the date of the report in it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Acting Director. Any further discussion? Councillor Beaumont.
Thanks, Mr Deputy Mayor. I know we did discuss this matter in the pre-meeting, but I would still like to ask the question that does approving this recommendation set a precedence when you look at the variation of setback from the high bank mark, bringing that from 30 metres down to 21.75. Are we setting a precedence in approving this recommendation?
I believe it's quite specific to this particular parcel of land, but I might ask the Director.
Yeah. So under the planning legislation, precedence is not a major thing we look at when we are assessing applications. It's all on a case-by-case basis. So there has to be enough justification for us to actually recommend approval.
Councillor Rodder.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Mayor. So just in regards to the point that Councillor McAllister made, I would question whether Council can actually approve the recommendation, given that this EES report could have been written any time. It's not actually able to be considered without information on when the report was prepared.
So councillors have the option of holding off making a decision until we can contact the application to get that date for you, if you so choose.
That would certainly be my preference.
Councillor Nichols?
Yeah, I'm pretty much along the same. I think it should be held over until such time as, but the question I was going to ask is, if this go forward, and it's that we have set a limit of 30 metres, is how many houses are built along that area now? How many more are to be built? And will they also expect to be able to see the river, because this one's built in front of them?
The process is, if the other properties also request a 4.6 variation, the application will be brought in front of council, so you can make your decisions based on council's recommendation.
Councillor McAllister?
My understanding of the LEP as the law, ultimately, that this council has drafted, by which we should make our planning decisions, I'm kind of concerned that the recommendation is that we approve a development application that flies directly in the face of that law, albeit the LEP of 2011 that we all hate and we've been trying to get rid of for so long. In my mind, it's quite clear that doing so would be illegal, and I'm concerned that the recommendation is that we approve.
I might just make comment in relation to that. So this particular section of land was subject to its own planning proposal, which had certain requirements, and it's unusual by the fact that it says that 30 metres from any bank of the river. It doesn't say high bank, doesn't say low bank. It says you may set back from 30 metres from a bank of the river. So in reality, this is brought to you under a clause 4.6 variation, but it is set back 30 metres from a bank of the river, which was the old, before the LEP of 2011 was the LEP of 1993, which talked about a 30 metre setback from pool level, and that is what this one currently is.
If I could just address that, can you then update us how that 93 law changed in the 2011 LEP and where we stand from a legal standpoint right now?
Your point of view about the legal standpoint is valid, other than the fact that this is a site-specific LEP adjustment, which was approved by Parliamentary Council and all the agencies and whatever else. So it is slightly separate from the normal clauses of the LEP. It's a standalone amendment number 7 of, amendment.
Sorry, is that in here, that information?
Yes, councillor. Page 162.
It became clause 7.9 of the LEP.
So my reading of that, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is that the clauses that constitute clause 7.9 were created with Parliamentary Council. I'm assuming that should be COUNSEL, which would be legal advice.
That's correct.
So that's the specific clause that relates to this specific development and no other.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Riverton Farm Development has its own site-specific requirements for, which has been through all the government agencies, Parliamentary Council, and has a variation already to the development standards set out in the rest of the LEP.
I have a question, if there's no further, to either the GM or acting director. So in summary, is the recommendation consistent with the 2011 LEP?
The recommendation is in line with the current LEP.
Thank you. Any further discussion? I'll put it to the vote. In favour, please. Those against? Okay, we have an equality of votes, and in that circumstance, I have a second and casting vote, which I will now exercise in line with my original vote in favour of the recommendation. The recommendation is carried. I'll now call for a division. All planning. So all planning matters require a second. So in favour?
Those for the motion?
Those against? Yes, Councillor Nichols, Councillor Rodder, Councillor McAllister, all recorded. And am I required to cast a second vote for the division?
No.
Thank you. That concludes item 9.8.
All right, thank you. 9.9, the delegated authority approvals as at the end of October. There's a recommendation there. Moved Councillor Nichols, seconded Councillor Rodder. Question, Councillor Nichols. Microphone, please.
Page 178, DA 2022/104. No, sorry, the one ahead above that, 032, 206 days for a 4-lot subdivision. Is there any particular reason why it took 3/4 of a year to get through?
For the DA to be sent for a number of state agencies for a response, which caused the delay in the assessment.
It usually takes 200 days though, do they? Sorry.
Not words you'd want to hear, Councillor Nichols, but everyone found excuses for lack of resources or COVID or anything and everything. There was excuses.
That answers the question, thank you.
Okay, any other queries? All in favour? Carried. Division? Division, everyone? Thank you. Unanimous. Councillor, no, agenda number 9.1, I should say, project and works update. Recommendation there, move it please. Councillor Rodder, seconded Councillor Beaumont. Discussion. Hey? Sorry, I've been reading too many. Reading too many River Heights. Thank you, Councillor Rodder, for the correction. Agenda item number 9.10. Any questions? Okay, as we've said before, some of these jobs may well be shoved aside a bit, depending on what happens with the floods. All in favour? Carried. Is that it?
10 questions.
Number 10, notice of motions, questions without notice. We'll go around the room. Councillor Nichols.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I think I've asked these before. Adam Street, and I think it's Arthur or Francis. Beverley Street, and it's either Arthur or Francis. We've had a cage surrounding a hole in the ground for many months. It's been so long that the grass is growing up out of the top of the peaked hat that's there, so it's 2'6" high, the grass that's underneath. I would assume they're drainage problems. When are they going to be fixed, and when are the offending cage and stuff going to be removed so that the place doesn't look like a bomb shelter?
Those actually refer to water infrastructure, so they're valves that have to be replaced. The valves have now been delivered. We're just trying to plan for the installation, which requires a major shutdown of water for considerable parts of the town. So trying to coordinate that with contractors in the current timing is a little bit difficult. So that they will remain in place until such time as we can secure said contractors.
Thank you. Second question, Coolwa Hall. We spent considerable money refurbishing it and so on and so forth. Could I please have a list of the usage, who and what are local? Please.
Okay, that can be organised.
I believe some of the locals are having trouble trying to rent it because of another group that's there.
Okay. Anything else?
No, thank you.
Councillor Ruddock.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. So I had a question in regards to the Gold Water Tower, and I realise that artistic pursuits are probably not of the highest priority at the moment, but I would like to put it on the table whether there's been any consideration of perhaps adding the water tower to the very popular silo/water tower trail and putting some art installation on that tower.
Certainly not the first time it's came up, and I think there's a reason there, Ken, is it, in relation to where it's located and lights on the highway and distractions?
Yeah, I think from memory it was to do with the now Transport for New South Wales and distraction and speed zones and on the incline up a hill and lights. Yeah, there was a myriad of things provided as opposition from the Transport for New South Wales in terms of safety.
Given the location of the majority of the infrastructure in the silo/water tower trail, they're all adjacent to a road. And given that there's only a 60-kilometre speed zone there, which is quite frankly ridiculous, I shouldn't think that safety would. Can we revisit that, please?
We certainly can. I mean, that's something that the previous council spoke about. We were all fairly keen from memory on all of them, weren't we? Like, it'd be great to get them in that same, like on the silo trail. And
perhaps there's some new people at Transport New South Wales that may look more favourably upon it this time round.
All we can do is try. Thank you. Anything else? Councillor Linklater.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I'd just like to break with tradition and rather than ask about something that hasn't been done or done quickly enough, as has already been put on record tonight, I want to acknowledge and thank Director Gunn and his team for their proactive work and community consultation with regards to flood preparation. I would also like to thank the community and agencies for participating in the flood and community information meetings, and also acknowledge Councillors Healy and Wood from Mildura for attending those meetings. I think it's a sign of unity and solidarity in these challenging times. And just finally, encourage our communities to stick together and look out for our neighbours. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Quite agree. Councillor Crisp.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like the GM to report on community volunteering sandbagging working bees that are being proposed.
As of 9 o'clock this morning, the SES update said there will be approximately another 6,000 sandbags coming into the area, while they're acknowledging there is a shortage throughout the state, but they're intending to hold sandbagging days at Carramar Oval on Saturday, commencing at 9 o'clock through to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The sandbagging machine will be there to assist in that, but community groups and volunteers are welcome to attend. And the same time slot on Sunday, 9 a.m. till 3 p.m. at the Wentworth Showgrounds. So anyone and everyone's willing to assist, and or if the need arises for sandbags, welcome to show up and participate.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just on the sandbags, Mr Mayor, given their shortage, it may be of interest to some people that they've actually got them for sale, and I think it was $1.14 each at the store at Redcliffe's. Taylor's have them available there.
Okay. Thank you. Councillor Cooper.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just a bit of an update from the Coa perspective in regards to the hall again. I was approached by several people that have wanted to hire the hall, but to get back the next day for weddings and big functions, to get back there the next day at 6 or 7 o'clock to clean up, just sort of doesn't cut the mustard with a bush wedding, because the user group is there every Sunday,
Okay.
a particular user group. So they're just wondering if something could be done if there was a big function on, whether that user group on the Sunday could push back into the afternoon or something like that, because it's just deterring a lot of locals who are locals, the Coa people, would like to use the hall. So if we could look at that and come to some arrangement. Another lot was just asked about the meetings that I couldn't attend on Sunday, but they just, if there's going to be any more, they're just wondering if it could be live streamed or you could tune into it rather than have to attend, if that's possible. And just once again, the Shire guys, on a Sunday, we were sandbagging our house in Coa and the Shire boys turned up. There was a couple of those, but SES too, which was really good. So, yeah, big credit to the Shire once again. It's a fantastic effort, so thank you.
All right. Thank you. And, yeah, once again, we're all in it together. And, again, well done to Jeff and his team for getting out there and supporting community as well. Councillor Beaumont.
Just a comment in relation to the meetings, the community meetings on Sunday. They were very well attended and very well received. A lot of very relevant information passed on by the particular agencies. I think the initial messaging that went out was in relation to a drop-in centre type environment. I think next time round we need to ensure that it's communicated that they will be community meetings as such. Because I know some people turned up a bit later and missed the meeting, and were quite disappointed.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. The drop-in session was the concept of how they wanted to do it, and when we got there, when the spill was there, and those that wanted in at 10 or up arse missed out. So I think next time for sure.
I think, if I may, Mr Mayor, we'll try and forecast or bring together another, particularly Wentworth one in a larger building, probably the pavilion at the showground, live stream, microphone, at a start time, and basically give people the opportunity to hear the whole message, because there was people in the street here that were disappointed and other aspects of the one here in Wentworth, but the content was good, but just not delivered in the best possible way.
Yeah. No, look, they were excellent sessions, but I think if you hold a community meeting, everyone gets to hear the same message, the same questions, the same answers, as opposed to multitude of different messages going out. So
exactly.
Anyway, well done.
Councillor Cooper.
I was just asked to by some of the other community members just not to make it between 9 and 11 on Sundays, church time. Just a note.
The Golgol people seem to cope all right.
2 to 4. Councillor McAllister.
Thank you. Yes, councillors might have noticed an article in the Sunraysia Daily on Saturday, basically from 3 groups of performing arts in the district who have effectively been kicked out of their home and looking for a new one. And I would consider that this represents an excellent opportunity for Wentworth to perhaps steal a whole bunch of user groups that are otherwise, if not ignored, then woefully disadvantaged, especially in terms of budgeting around the arts. Performing arts will only ever capture 10%, if that. So the group call themselves Sunraysia Theatre Arts Group Endeavour, or Stage. And the point was made that while sporting facilities seem to command a lot of the funding, the facilities, they're all built for purpose. Performing artists tend to have to sort of bring their own gear a lot of the time. Everybody's a volunteer, and there's very few stages upon which they can perform. I think it'd be wonderful, particularly for the development end of the Shire where there's lots of new families, considering the last play that I had anything to do with had 4 kids from the formerly Golgol School Primary School Band, one of whom had just performed with the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra. I think it's really important. Like, we've got some great programs for musicians and performers through the primary schools. Kumiala High has an excellent music section as well, and arguably one of the best drama teachers, or 2, but one's about to retire, in the district as well, and regularly, kick above their weight at a Stedford. So I think it'd be great if council could really consider helping throw some support behind a purpose-built and design for performing artists to have a home in the region. And I think also there would be considerable buy-in from Broken Hill, who would want to tour, and if we had somewhere lovely that they could come to and perform, I think that would really benefit the region as well, and potentially steal a bit of Mildura's, what's not working with the powerhouse. And mainly, I think the way that these groups have effectively been kicked out of their home with not a lot of consultation. There's some bad feeling around that. So there's an opportunity to step up and show that we care and that we provide a place for the arts as well as sporting, but specifically performing arts.
Okay, good point. And
I have one more, if I may.
yes, certainly.
I'd like to request that, and you're probably already doing it, that council send a letter of condolence to Balranald Council as well.
Yep, certainly. Councillor Rodder.
So just off the arts and back onto sport. So just would like to bring to people's attention, Abby Collinghold from the Golgol Cricket Club has been selected in the under-16 female Vic Country squad. So congratulations.
Terrific. Well done.
It's good to see young people in our Shire doing really well.
Very good. All right, well, thank you.
Mr Mayor, if I can, Councillor McAllister, would any temporary places help out? And I'm thinking for these arts people, we have various places, and I'm thinking of, well, the showgrounds over here. There's got to be other places that they can use temporarily, whether it be the football ground area, or was that not large enough at Buronga Golgol? Those sorts of things.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Nichols. The Midway Centre does have a stage. It doesn't have a lot of other facilities, and it does have a fairly heavy schedule of user groups. But, that would be the obvious one. In terms of specifically training people who are based in Mildura, and not all of them are. A lot of those people are based on our side of the river, but training them to come across the river for an arts home, I think that might be a good start. I would have to consult with them and find out what they would think about that and get back to you, but there are discussions happening also with Mildura Council as well. So, I just think there's an opportunity that could be explored. And even if Mildura does find a home for them, I still think that this council should certainly have a look at our support for performing arts in particular. And I know I'm a little bit biased in that.
Town hall, not an option?
In Wentworth?
Yeah.
Sure.
I think if you start perhaps put your heads together and see what you can come up with, I think you'll get quite a few suggestions.
Yeah, can I just also ask, I think one of the facilities in Baronga is being used by one of those groups. I don't know if you saw the article.
Yeah, I think the Electric Light Theatre have a licence to use one of the old scout halls or something like that in that area. Yeah, they use that for storage at the moment. Yeah,
Just for storage. They have approached us with a design for a purpose-built facility for stage and breakaway rooms and dressing rooms and other bits and pieces. Yeah, all that type of thing. So I have seen a concept of that, but I'd need to follow up and sort of work out what part of the process that's in. It was designed to go on the corner of Pittman and the highway, near the old toilet block or new toilet block or refurbished toilet block or will indeed the toilet block fit if we could put the building there.
So council would be open to meeting with the stage group?
We've met with the Electric Light Theatre.
So this is now three of them. It's Musical Society, Mildura Theatre Company and Electric
I'm
Light.
pretty sure they were representing all three of those when I met with them 6 or 8 months ago now.
Okay.
Yep.
Good, thank you.
All righty, thank you. Okay, that concludes us. I'll just conclude with the Bureau up-to-date, just for the benefit of the public that may not have seen it. Mildura has been revised to 38.5 metres, so a drop of 100 mil. Wentworth revised to 33.88, which is a drop of shade over 400 mil. So hopefully, touch wood, we'll know in a couple of weeks, but that's better news than how it was going a couple of weeks ago. Thank you all for your attendance. The 14th of December is our next council meeting. And as we've discussed, we'll get as much info out to councillors on updates on floods and what's happening as we progress along. Thank you very much, everyone.